Penn State did not let down, and now the Nittany Lions are ready for the showdown. Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for instant analysis. Please hit the like button and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Final score from Camp Randall: Penn State 28, Wisconsin 13, and the Nittany Lions are 7-0 and await Ohio State in Happy Valley. Okay, let's get to the particulars. Wisconsin put up a fight. They had a lead at halftime at 10-7. Penn State dominated the second half. Superior talent, athleticism, we know the deal, speed and so forth. More NFL players, and they won it with a 21-3 scoring surge in the second half without Drew Aller. And his health, his prognosis for Saturday's game against Ohio State is huge. Aller had a fumble on the first series when Penn State was on the cusp of the red zone, but other than that, played extremely well with a touchdown pass to Nick Singleton, who caught it with one hand. 14 of 18 for Drew Aller, but we saw him get sacked on the final drive of the first half, and there didn't appear, based on the announcer's perception, to have been necessarily anything obvious, but it was pretty obvious to me that his left knee and leg buckled. It was in an awkward position as he had all that weight from that sack and those defensive linemen bearing down on him. Aller did not come back into the game. Bo Pribula, who we often see getting a lot of snaps as the Penn State backup quarterback. They have specific packages for him because he is the changeup guy. He's the guy, he's the runner, he's the guy that is the changeup for the defense. But in this game, he had to be the number one guy. But I believe he probably benefited from all those snaps in meaningful games as a regular fixture within the Penn State offense. And Pribula went 11 of 13 for 98 yards, led a 13-play, 81-yard touchdown drive in the second half with a touchdown pass to Khalil Dinkins. Very nifty play call in which Ty Warren was the focus of the defense, certainly took defenders with him, and Dinkins got lost behind the defense in the back of the end zone for the little dink for the touchdown to Khalil Dinkins from 1 yard out. And again, Penn State wins at 28-13. Late touchdown run by Katron Allen to seal it. The Penn State defense, despite the loss of another key player that we'll have to keep an eye on for the Buckeye game coming up Saturday, Dennis Sutton had to leave the game in the first half. He did not return. Big pick six as really the undoing for Wisconsin, among a few other things. Braden Locke played well at times, but made a number of key mistakes and missed a number of passes. 22 of 42 for only 217 yards as Wisconsin could do nothing, for the most part, deep downfield, although they did have that one impressive march after Jaden Reed had the pick six to put them up 14-10. So Jalen Reed just completely lost in coverage where Braden Locke could not see him, threw it right to him, and Jalen Reed took it in for the pick six that turned the game around. As this was at the beginning of the third quarter, Penn State went up on the pick six, 14-10. Now it was the next series where Braden Locke had two excellent throws downfield, one to Anthony, one to C.J. Williams, and of course, Wisconsin fans have been waiting forever for C.J. Williams to show up to be the player that was anticipated to be the guy coming from USC, and he made a remarkable catch. If you really look at the slow motion replay, he caught the back end of the football with his ends of his fingertips, but they had to settle for a field goal at 14-13. We talked about the Penn State scoring plays and drives that sealed the game from there, but it's all about projecting toward Ohio State. Bo Pribula, you would not think would be up to the task to take on Ohio State before we got to see what we saw tonight. This is not a guy that's going to complete 30 out of 35 to win a game with 350 yards passing. However, within the structure of the Penn State offense, if they rely on the defense in the running game against Ohio State and the way the Buckeyes failed to run the football against Nebraska today, that Penn State defense looks in tall order to hold Ohio State down. This Penn State defensive front against the Ohio State offensive line that we saw today, advantage Penn State. Should be interesting. Of course, this has been the bugaboo for James Franklin. 1-9 against Ohio State. Penn State has only won once since 2011 against Ohio State, but it comes down to this one for the Buckeyes and the Nittany Lions. On the Wisconsin side, they've got a date against Iowa at Kinnick. But of course, this is no longer the Big Ten Western Division, so no longer is this the number one game in that division. There are no divisions, and Wisconsin and Iowa out of the race in the Big Ten. Your thoughts about Penn State minus Drew Aller? Possibly, of course, we hope that he will play. Dennis Denai Sutton as well, one of the better defenders in the Big Ten. He is questionable for Ohio State and Penn State, one of the games of the year in the Big Ten. Keep it locked in here at the Voice of College Football. See you next time.